YouTube.
I have
When you get that, you just.
I do have a bit of a cold coming on, so if my voice gets
that happens to the best of us. I'll forgive you. We'll fix it in post. Let's make sure we're going. And listen, we're live. We're rocking and rolling. We're good. It's looking good. We just do this because we didn't do this with any announcement. I don't know if we're gonna have anybody in the up. We already got someone.
That's just
around
in the rock and roll. You're supposed to start from the bottom. So
that's it. Start to the bottom. Pray you make it to the top, right?
Oh yes, well that's the exercise.
There you go. So, ladies and gentlemen, joining us from home. If I've learned one thing in my time on the internet, it's this: absolutely no harm can come from messing with random individuals, especially if they're bemasked. So in that spirit, I'm joined today by Darth from the enigmatic rock sensations known as the Masters of the Illuminati. And the question really is this: is it a ruse? Is it just at all a promotional stunt? Or are we truly dealing today with one of the insiders? And as I said in the description box, hey, hazard your own guess about whether or not we're all having good fun here, or whether or not you're peering behind the enigma, peering behind the curtain, and getting a true feel, a true sight of a true master of the Illuminati. But as I said in the description box, hazard your guess, but be wary if you hazard wrong. Darth, how are we doing today?
Okay, great. It's great here in London, where I am at the moment. Pleasantly rocking just by the side of the Thames. How's it up there?
Fantastic. You know what I mean? New Jersey is as best as it can be. We take what we can get. You know what I mean? And we take it well. So there you go. I mean, look. I mean, I'll definitely say that your location seems a little bit more classy than mine. But hey, what are you gonna do?
Well, the nice thing about the ship,
you are the master of the Illuminati, so right?
Oh yes. I'm the guitarist in the Masters of the Illuminati. We just got together recently. We're working on the first tracks. New singles coming out on 16th of November. So we are starting the marketing ploy, as you put it, which is exactly the right rock and roll term, actually, the marketing ploy. Just when my laces are undone. Right. Yes, we're releasing the new single, 10 Million Years, available on our website, mastersilluminati.com. We're starting off the promotional campaign. We're having a two-pronged campaign, the alternative media first, which is why we've come to you, and also the financial media. It's a bit of a new approach, but I think it's going to pay off. After the new single, we're working on the album currently, and I've worked with the singer before, the first Master of the Illuminati, but this is the first time we've worked in a band together where we all come from the same place, and we had a discussion and we decided that it was time to come out and say what we really were, hence the name of the band, the Masters of the Illuminati.
Well, there you go. Listen, I mean, if you're going to try and get paid, I think there's no better place to start than the financial media. I don't know about the alternative media, but I guess, you start small and you work your way to the top.
We had a choice between two shows when we started. We've been communicating with Catherine Austin Fitz, who all the band are big fans of, and she likes her music as well. And your show, and because of your background, you were more likely to know the rock and roll. We opted for your show, so we're looking for unusual venues to promote the band. And one of the reasons we've come out as the Masters Illuminati is I'd like to speak about the dreadful repophobia, not just in the music industry, which is what's been holding us back, but in society in general. And although on your show, frequently you'll discuss about whether aliens exist, whether reptiles exist, I think everybody could agree that repophobia exists. Could you agree with that statement?
Absolutely. Let's tear down those walls. Repophobia, like elf phobias, What's with the hang-ups, right?
Right, and if you look at it, either aliens or shape-shifting reptiles exist, or they don't exist. If they don't exist, then surely that repophobia, as the people who try to deprogram people who've gone far down the rabbit hole well know, repophobia about a non-existent species is not a very healthy mental sign.
No, not at all. Not at
Real
all.
things, not imaginary things. That's one scenario. In which case, I would argue that repophobia is not a good thing. For your sake, rather than for ours. From our angle, of course, that if you're getting indiscriminate hate with unfounded allegations, it's actually rather painful, and it really holds back our performing career. And the whole point of being a Master of the Illuminati is to rock. That's what we're all here for.
Listen,
honestly, and it's not just a issue on showbiz and not us being able to get a gig. There's more to it than that. That aliens are here to rock. That's why they're here.
They might as well, right? Space rock, Aqua Indigo's, you know what I mean? They've been there from the beginning. They might as well stick around.
What happened when the first spaceships got up? Once you're into the space age, you're into the age of rock. Rock is the soundtrack.
Dare say, right, Telstar?
What happens when you get into space? You start into space, rock and roll comes together. Rock and roll and space in the future are intertwined. And if you get into space and go further, rock goes along with you. Rock's the journey, the soundtrack, right, as you move into your sci-fi. We call it the technology barrier, the point at which a new species stops being a creature of nature and their technology reaches a stage where they're now living in a science fiction world of their own invention. When that happens,
you gotta be careful there, because you're gonna start tripping some wires, and people are gonna start accusing you of ushering in the transhumanist agenda.
Which is?
Oh, I have no idea. I just hear the people talking about it on the internet all the time.
Right.
I gotta be completely honest. I'm still on reptiles. I can't keep up.
What happens? No, this is a phenomena that all planets, all species have to go through this. That what happens is that as your technology takes off, you're living in a world that is no longer natural to you. And of course, it causes stresses and strains. Emotional dysfunction becomes greater because you're not living in the Stone Age world, which you're adapted. Your social systems, which are actually pretty good for the Bronze Age, are not quite so good for the science fiction world you're about to enter. Not my science fiction world, your science fiction world. And that's where the discomfort comes from. There's a simple formula by which we can tell whether a planet's going to get through the technology barrier in one piece and rock out for all eternity. If the stakes are high, if you get through it, you get to rock out.
I hope I make it. You know what I mean?
If a species' emotional development and social development is slower than its technology development, you won't have the equipment necessary to survive your own technology. We call it the technology barrier.
Okay.
And we know it's happening when a species starts to rock, and all the rock fans in the galaxy come along to rock along. Find out the new rock might not be here for very long. Try interesting new music, and that's basically what we're up to. And by speaking up about the repophobia, maybe we can stop a return to the 1950s and the unpleasant incidents at Rockwell.
There you go. Well, listen, according to the timeline theory, I think we're doomed to loop and repeat. Hopefully we'll be able to rectify some stuff. Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
We're trying to get through that technological barrier. We're trying to break on through to the other side. But before we do, I got to ask you, it's an interesting promotional campaign. You're here talking to C.W. Chanter on the amazing, world-renowned C.W. Chanter show. You obviously got a background.
I'll interrupt you.
Sure.
Also galactic.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yes, you're obviously new, but your figures are doing quite well. A few more than you got on Earth, but
okay. Hey, listen. At least somebody gets it. You know what I mean? I feel like remember that old joke. I'm big in Sweden. You know what I mean? Like I said, well, listen, my Earth numbers might not be that great, but I got a good authority that I meant to galactic, baby. Kiss my ass.
Exactly. It can go on the CV with the other stuff.
But speaking in earthbound terms, if we were to make an analogy between my show and, say, a geographical location in England, playing the gig at the CW Chanter Hall, what's the equivalent? Is that what backwater am I the equivalent of when you're just starting off with the shoebox tour, hitting the
corner of the
outline?
galaxy. Oh, this corner of the galaxy is a backwater.
I would say so.
But funnily enough, your biggest danger and your best asset are the best things.
Okay.
Your big brains and these clever hands. Not all species have hands. Have you ever tried to play a guitar with 10-foot tentacles? Or claws?
Once.
Or flippers? If you're a shapeshifter, this is an issue.
Absolutely.
If you want to try the music, guitar is universal. Hands are the best biological creation for playing. You can't do that with flippers.
Not as well, I dare say.
It would be nice if the human race survived. Then we can come down, shapeshift, rock out indefinitely into the future.
Right. On the subject of flippers, God's capo?
Actually, yes, that's a rather interesting way.
Right? You know what I mean? So I'm expanding the parameters.
If you worked in tandem, but they don't get to do the solos then, do they? They don't get to flip out, as it were. Yes, right. Do you play a tour yourself at CW?
I play many toys. I started off life as a bass player.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean? Because 4 strings seem to be easier to understand than to get a grasp on than 6. And then I kind of moved on into a more techno-y kind of feel. I got involved in experimental music and started getting involved in, all the beeps and the bloops and the boxes and the gear and the MIDI and all that jazz. And then it kind of evolved. And now generally what I do is I do a lot of stuff with like effects, pedal loops and all that wonderful noisy stuff. I like to expand my parameters and my horizons. And more importantly than that, I like to bury my lack of native musical talent in tons and tons of outboard gear. That's what I find. If your guitar playing sucks, add a pedal. You still suck, add another pedal. How you doing? And then you just get there. Before you know it, you know what I mean? You're taking rock into experimental new directions called you can't play.
It's not necessary always to be technical to rock out. For instance, our scientists don't play too many solos. They only know 3 chords because they're busy doing science stuff. But nonetheless, they rock out. They have a genre where they bang out 3 chords. They shout really complicated algebraic formulas over the top of those chords. And their science conference is a bit like a Clash gig in the 70s. It's quite a thing to watch. And can I ask you a question?
Sure.
If you were an advanced alien species with an indefinite lifespan, what would you spend your time doing?
Well, I don't think I'd spend my time doing any one thing, especially if given an infinite lifetime. I think I'd want to spread it out a little, do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But I think I'd be having fun, right? I'd be seeking joy and excitement, high vibrations, good times, not bad times, right?
And that's what we do. We rock out in our spaceships. When we find a planet that's approaching the rock era, we go down, jam, have a good time, sing some lyrics, and cross our fingers that they're going to get through the technology barrier and survive the tensions they're creating in their own civilization. So a good time out by ore.
What was that?
It's all about having a good time when you're out in the galaxy, and we're kind of rocking out.
Yeah, absolutely. There are some that say that rock is dead, that we got to move past this.
You can always invent it, and there's different ways to rock, whether it's on the old little guitar that rocks, or whether it's your old-fashioned.
There you go.
That's what we spent our time doing. And as you said, there's many ways to rock. It's just that rock is the most popular. What happens if you survive the post-industrial age and nobody has to work anymore, and you've got your social system sorted out, you've got time on your hands. And that's what we do.
Absolutely, right?
So for the advanced species, that's what we do. We spend 100 years there, chilling out 100 years there, got time for family, friends, and such like. But in the meantime, you need a quest, and that's what we do. We go out, find out different kinds of music, play in different places, and if there weren't so much repophobia, you would actually find a lot more alien bands coming out and rocking out in the open. And in the 50s, for instance, when there was a lot of prejudice, you look at the rock acts in the 50s. Do they look a bit more square than the rock acts in the 60s?
It's all subjective.
Well,
a little bit repophobic.
Yes, not so many freaks and space cadets in the 50s as the 60s.
No, right? It takes a minute to get from point A to point B, right?
Oh, no, we watch out. Everybody wants to be the first one in. We had people coming in saying swing was rock, which is a very good argument. They came early because swing and jive are the same, and jive and rock are indistinguishable. So we had some early comers at the swing age. As things started to get electric, you get the Les Paul. Then you get proper rock and roll, rockabilly, skiffle. That's when we start to get excited, come down. The 50s, it's not a good time to be a minority, was it, of any kind?
No, I
agree. In the 50s. At the same time, you have Roswell. Not a good time to be an alien.
Right, I was going to say, they picked a hell of a time to show up, right?
Well, that's why you don't see any alien rockers in the 50s, because the ones that came down ended up in Roswell as guests of the government. So not until the 60s, after the civil rights movement managed to stop the horrible oppression for all minorities in the 50s, and things lightened up a bit, and that's when you see all the freaks and space cadets come. You go to a festival, what do you see? Freaks and space cadets all over the place. So really, when you're dissing shape-shifting reptiles, that's what we're doing. We're here to rock out, have fun. Yes, we have some scientists observing and whatnot, making a record, but they rock out too. They're going to be freaking out at the festival.
Absolutely.
So as we don't have more than the singles produced at the moment, and it's difficult to tour when nobody will give you a gig if you come out as what you are, not just in rock, but even on our TV shows. We have a TV show for Z-list celebrities of all kinds. And I would have thought as a Z-list alien celebrity, I would qualify for Strictly Come Dancing. But they won't even return my calls. Can you imagine it? That's blatant.
Listen, I can't imagine it. They won't return my phone calls either.
That's blatant repophobia. What would be better for the show than a Z-list celebrity alien contestant? And
I've still got tears. I show up to America's Got Talent and with a kind of a Yoko Ono performance art no piece where I just kind of stood there and cried. And they said,
exactly.
Yeah, they said, did they get it? No.
That's discrimination against emotion, which emotion is very important to shapeshifters. It's a
seriously. So listen, we can't talk about repophobia without talking about David Icke. You know, what's the
right? Good point, because he's not a bad guy. And when it comes down to analysis of economics and the other stuff, there's not a lot to disagree with. So I don't really get where the repophobia is coming from. He hasn't even listened to our music, so how can he judge?
Oh, but judge he does, right?
Exactly. Now, if he listens to our music, thinks it's shite, wish we'd go away, we'd probably go away. And you wouldn't have to go to all the bother. All he's got to do is give us a bad album review when it comes out, say unkind things, and we'll bugger off to some other planet. Job done.
Well, listen, I mean, I hope it's a matter of, I'll give you a good review. I've checked it out. We'll definitely we got to get the links together, put them in the description box below. You can check these guys out. They got their own YouTube channel. And I got to tell you, I like what I hear from you guys. So this single, is it going to get a vinyl press? Is it a digital only release, like a jerk? Or are you going to go
It's got to be digital. We do prefer vinyl, because when you have advanced civilization, you're no longer impressed by the latest upgrade. What you want is Optimum technology, which I have to say, Optimum technology, I'll give you a great example. I've taken some of this back to all my friends. Hang on, I'm giving most of it away. Just a moment. When I go home, data storage. Great. You can write down your song lyrics, paper and pencil. That's Optimum technology. And that's what we tend to use in Alien World. That's why our spaceships tend to look like ships rather than spaceships. It's very practical.
Okay, well, now listen, there are a lot of people that are going to be crying foul because they come back from their supposed intergalactic journeys and they tell tales of the looking glass and the glass pad and the holographic light language and all this stuff. But you're saying no, it's pen and paper all the way.
No, it is holographic, but the pen and paper is catching on because we have very sophisticated writing systems, so sophisticated that by the time you've written down your lyric, you've forgotten it. Paper and pencil is brilliant. For a specific task, for songwriting, you cannot beat paper and pencil. That's a fine example of Optimum technology. And Earth should be very proud of that. That's most countries have forgotten paper and pencil. So when you're not advanced yet, all those latest iPhone upgrades mean something. Yeah, I've got an iPhone. I couldn't even get the marketing campaign out with that iPhone. It's upgraded every year, and it misses the most important upgrade of all, which should be the first one if you'd concentrated on the other issues as well as technology. How do you send your emotions on an iPhone?
Listen, trust me, I hear you. Man, I resisted email for the longest time. I said it's just there's no nuance, there's no emotion, there's no thought, there's no feeling at all.
Exactly.
That's, right.
Whereas we call them mobile portable telephonic communication devices. They're not so hot as yours on social media, but like if I know my folks are missing me back home, it's a long way away, I can just send an email snapshot of my emotions. Vital technology. If you haven't got that, no wonder everybody's stressed out. You don't know how your loved ones feel. You're a long way from home. So that's why it's not that technology is bad, but there are some things that are better to invent first, and then you'll find it's easier to live with the consequences of all those shiny new inventions.
Right. So let's talk economics, because obviously I've checked out your channel. I've seen your uploads. We obviously know we mentioned Catherine Austin Fitz. She's obviously out there deconstructing the economical delusions and illusions. And I dare say it seems to be a hallmark of your thesis that the economic thing, jail cell, I don't want to judge it, the economic problem is part of the problem, standing between us and the rock.
Pretty much. It's not an issue of your own making. And as aliens, we don't have a law forbidding us from coming in and helping you out or giving you advice or pointing death rays and telling you to behave. We don't have a law against it. But in all the history of the galaxy, no intervention of any kind has ever been successful anytime, anywhere. So we just don't intervene in the affairs. We come here to rock. The one exception to that is this is not strictly a human issue. I'm not speaking out against the human bankers or the human customers, that the Greys who run a corporate galactic Ponzi scheme,
the Greys,
are making it rather more difficult than it should be to get to the technology barrier. And as an advanced alien species, it is fair game to speak out against them. Not that we need to fight a galactic war. They have no power. They're weak. A 5-year-old could win against the Grey in a bar fight. They can't have advanced weaponry, because they're bankrupt. They've been bankrupt for 1,000,000 years, so they can't afford half a dozen muskets. All you've got to do is say no. That's all it takes to beat the Greys.
So is it all? So do they hold all the power through trickery and deception? Have they just managed to fake it?
Debt is all it takes. Debt is all it takes. If you ignore the issue of the Greys and read some of the things Catherine's saying, and maybe get onto websites like housepricecrash.com, you maybe have American versions, where they've deconstructed the banking system in the last 20 years. The only possible explanation for what the banks have been doing is utterly ridiculous, because no sensible explanation makes sense.
Listen, I agree. I mean, from where I stand, it's like, how long does it take before you start studying advanced economics where you realize, like, this makes no sense at all?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, like even like talk about, there's a lot of people who talk about in terms of magical or occult sciences, and it literally seems that way. Babylonian banking system. I mean, how do you take $10, turn it into ones and zeros, put it into an imaginary box called a checking account or savings account, and then all of a sudden it starts growing?
That's exactly why we're so intrigued by Catherine Fitz, because she is such a respectable, qualified lady. She never refers to anything on the fringe. Hard facts, figures, balance sheets, following the money, as you would expect from somebody with her background. Her only inference towards aliens was sheer bewilderment that what other explanation is, and then she leaves it alone because that's not her turf. She needs to keep a professional demeanor if people are going to take it seriously. So for us, we don't have Greys in our part of the galaxy because we don't have a monetary system. So there's no debt for them to acquire. But it needs somebody to go where Catherine can't go. She needs to keep a mainstream image and not go down that path in order to do the other work. There's lots of facts and figures she's found, not all to do with the spacey side of things. But I do think it needs to be pointed out that there is a group, they're sinister, but in fact they're powerless. All you've got to do is simply say no to debt, say no to the consequences of debt, and at the very least that will take away the horrible malaise that's been over us. One of the reasons many of my neighbours have moved on to boats is not because they're aliens living in their spaceships. It's because nobody can afford to live on dry land anymore. It's as simple as that. If it gets any worse, space is the only way to go, and that's classic Grey mentality. That the horrible thing about the Grey system, as we're noticing, we have a very stable financial system. It might suck, but our system is very stable at the moment. The Grey system has been stable for millions of years, but it sucks for millions of years, where everybody is subject to lifetime debt slavery forever, and your kids and your kids. So yes, somebody has to shout out of the Greys. It can't be somebody like Catherine, because she's got other things to do, and that would damage her reputation. So as they are a non-human target, yes, as well as speaking up about repophobia, we have to speak up about the aliens who are actually a bit of a nuisance. But you don't have to point death rays at them. They have no power except the power of debt. But you would be amazed how much damage that can. I've been in debt a few times when I started a career with the band. And
no way. The career in music and you ended up in debt? I don't buy it.
Yes, it's part of the story, isn't it? It's if you can't be you can't be a rock musician without the arse hanging out of your trousers, and that's as true for an alien super race. That when we come down to an alien planet, what's the point of coming down in like padded Lamborghini spaceships and lording it over other guys when we're in a sport band? That's not going to work, is it? You've got to come down, do it yourself, work in the call centre, get your guitar, do it the proper way. That's the story. That's otherwise, it wouldn't be interesting, would it?
Listen, that's some great spiritual concepts involved. That life without struggle would be meaningless, and it'd be no fun. And before you know it, you'd be saying things like, "Let's play a game called I'm in debt with my ass hanging out of my trousers."
Yes, exactly.
Call that Saturday night.
We could play other games like Galactic Conquest. Let's hack and slay everybody.
Right.
But that's not such a great game to play. If it's better to play the rock and roll game, a little bit of adventure, discovery, meet new people, and that's what we're all about. So to people who are obsessed with the alien world, aliens don't want you to believe in us. We just want you to listen to the album and get away from your computer screens and go out and rock a little more. Would be very nice indeed. Talking about which, I'm dressed up because if I'm not jamming, playing or recording, I'm out dancing. And
there you go.
Off down to the Vauxhall Coliseum tonight. The main club has closed, sadly. It's been going for 50 years, but the basement clubs where it's been free for aliens and humans to dance freely without these horrible masks has been spared, luckily. So off to enjoy it while I still got the chance.
So what do you like? What do you like to tap your toes to? What do you like to dance to?
Oh, I'm strictly Latin.
Okay.
Latin, which is why, yes, if we can just sell enough copies of the record, get on that said list celebrity things, fight repophobia, get on Strictly, get through the first 2 or 3 rounds. Next thing you know, gold album. That's the plan anyway.
Listen, I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for you. I'm doing my part. You know what I mean? But you know, I gotta tell you something. It's great. Well, I want to do 2 things. I want to talk about deconstructing the title "Masters of the Illuminati."
Okay.
Now, there's one way to think about it, and I'll lay out my thesis, and then you can tell me your take on my idea. So there's the Illuminati. The Masters of the Illuminati could refer to. There's the Illuminati, and you're at the capstone, as it were, the titular head. Or it could be, or am I right here? That's really about you're the masters of the Illuminati. You're mastering them. Get down there, you Illuminati. We've shown up. We're here to. We're going to master you.
In a way, any reptile shapeshifter who, well, we all rock. Any reptile shapeshifter is a master of the Illuminati. It's actually, obviously, we're a very old species. It's an ancient dance which we master as part of our rites of passage. It can only be done with a tail, so unfortunately, I can't do it on Earth. We are all masters of the Illuminati as part of our rites of passage. The reasons we call ourselves the Masters of the Illuminati is we're the first of our species to actually come out on this planet and say, yes, we are the Masters of the Illuminati. And going back to your statement, we're the new kids in town. And I might look quite elderly in Earth years, but I'm only 3 millennium in reptile years. So we're a young band, and the other aliens, you know what it's like, young band, old hands, they've been joshing us a bit. So yes, it would be nice to be the real Masters Illuminati and show the other aliens here that we're ready to rock as well as rocking out to our human hosts.
Right. Now let me ask you. Let me. I have you here. You know, the internet has presented me with a few times when I've been able to talk to a shapeshifter, but not all the time. So let me ask you some questions. As a shapeshifter, do you find yourself when you get to a new planet, you start assuming the shape? If you've been there for a while, you start to lose track of who's the real you?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. A very interesting question.
That's what I'm here for.
You remain you in a conscious state, but as happened to my best friend who came to Earth in the 50s and ended up in Roswell, they found out that he is in fact 100% human. And while we're rocking out, it is on the edge and dangerous for us because we're no longer impervious to danger as we are in our natural form. And yes, we do have force fields to protect us, but we can step out in front of a bus like anybody else. So yes, we are very vulnerable. We're subject to anything any other human being is. And we're also subject to human hormones. Which is different to ours, and we have to get used to a different nervous system. So when we shapeshift, it takes about 5 or 10 years to get our technique back together again, which is why we don't do it. It's also rather painful. We don't do it too often. I'm going to have to do it in about 5 or 10 years. So hopefully, time to get a couple of albums off. And but there's another issue which you probably haven't thought about that. Yes, it does affect you that some of my thoughts are a lot more human than if I was in my reptile form. A friend of mine's coming from my home planet, who I really liked. We're about the same age. But of course, when she comes to Earth, she's got a shapeshift. So we're the same age. She's really hot, great taste, good dancer. To see her do the Illuminati, she is hot, hottest prehensile I'll tell you ever seen.
Mm.
Trouble is, she'll be shapeshifting when she arrives. She's going to be like 22, probably like Sophia Loren in the 1960s. I shapeshifted 40 years ago. So you get these curious things where you can, as a shapeshifter, you can have like a girlfriend your own age, but as you shapeshift, you get all these complex and complications that you wouldn't in a non-shapeshifting species. But there are other advantages that, although our original form has a very long lifespan anyway, when you shapeshift, your body clock stops. So if you're a lizard who shapeshifts all the time, each time you shapeshift, that's not on your body clock. This body clock goes on, but when I shapeshift, I get to be early adult again. Body clock wears out, and it's only the time I spend back home with the family as a reptile that counts on my body clock. So yes, it's an interesting life being a shapeshifter, but the best advantage of all, I have to say, out of all of them, is these.
The hands.
There is nothing quite like these, and if this disappears, it's going to be such a tragedy if nobody can ever. As a guitarist yourself, you like to try out different guitars to get a different sound.
No, you know what I find is that, like, you know, like I said, it's like the amount of my playing style is really conducive. Like the one great thing about playing through 1003 effects boxes for a living or non-living is that it really doesn't matter what guitar you play; it all ends up sounding the same anyway.
Right. Now imagine if you could try playing with a different body. That other.
I often dream of playing with a different body.
Which body would you prefer to play in if in your ultimate rock band?
Well, her name is Gloria, and she lives down the street. Don't tell my wife.
I would pay good money to see that show.
That's what I keep on telling her. So far, no luck. No luck.
Well, maybe if we start a crowd fund, we might get to enjoy that. I'll come and play rhythm guitar for the
Please, you know what I mean? Bring your wah-wah pedal. They could, you know, bring back the 70s in style.
Oh yes, I love the 70s. It was a time when the 70s was different. Your technology was going slower, and you could taste the optimism in the air.
Oh yeah, okay.
When I listen to 70s tunes, you can't help but feel that tomorrow is going to be a bit better. That's the feeling and the soundtrack when you're approaching the barrier at the correct speed. When things are not going so well, the music gets a little bit tense. And of course, we've moved with that. That's why our tracks are more tense and speedy. We have to reflect the music. In my heart, I'd be a cross between the Grateful Dead and the Small Faces singing.
Hey, listen, that sounds good. I like that. I like that too.
Yeah. Really deeply love it if you guys got your shit together, so that after one or two maybe really hard, anguished albums out there on the edge, we could do that lovely Small Faces Sergeant Pepper's album, which means you're coming through to the other side, and we can all rock out for all eternity. I think that would be extremely pleasant.
That would be. So was there tangible, but you guys are exploring the more terse, heavier sound that kind of came out after. But let me ask you this, based on your age as 3 millennia old, you have to see these trends come and go, this back and forth between the flow, the joy, the optimism, and then the reactionary thing.
We follow it. We're rooting for. The funny thing about the technology barrier is you can't get through it without becoming sentient.
Right.
Think of your sentient and then multiply it by 10. And it's a side effect. It's something that your NASA scientists have discussed, whether aliens are scary monsters and you should nuke them at the first sight, or say unkind things through social media. both equally unpleasant to us because nuclear bombs don't hurt as much as unkind comments. We've got stuff to protect us from nuclear bombs. We've got nothing to protect us from unkind comments on social media.
Oh, baby, you know
who has?
No, listen, I'm telling you, I'm looking every day. I'm trying to find, I get it from all sides on social media. Forget about it.
Yes, exactly. So what we're looking for is just to have a nice time rocking.
Right. You want to do some questions from the audience? We got an open chat going on here.
Let's do some audience questions to see how it goes.
Let's just give you guys a minute for audience questions. Now, bear in mind, I don't know if we cursed ourselves, Darth, because I love how we led into people can be so cruel on the internet to questions from the audience. we might have been asking for trouble. Let's see what's going on. I think this is a question. CW, what about what? Well, no, I know. Let's have some questions for our friend Darth here. They're asking general questions like, what do I think about the cure? What with the get up? Okay. Clearly, they're focusing on the tux because that's got to be the strangest thing about the outfit. What's up with the tux?
Well, it helps take away a bit from the mask. Obviously, we have to protect our identity, but going about in a mask is a little scary. But what you can do, my nan knitted them for us before we went on tour, so we have to wear them.
Right. We'll get hurt.
Right now, have I ever had that Christmas sweater that you have to wear or Christmas Day? The tux is because, as I said, I love to go Latin dancing, and it's dressed in white night tonight, and it's going to be absolutely fabulous.
Okay. Now let me ask you something about now the masks hiding your identity. I always thought that a mask was a great way to hide your identity, unless the cops are looking for a dude in a mask.
Yeah, but like, are we going to break the law by rocking out too much?
You might. You might.
We might.
Is that crazy, bro? Listen, I've got to tell you, Donald Trump's running for president. You watch out, bro. They might get you for that. Rocket crime. Void Mirror asks an interesting question. He says, do you like cats or not? Hey, wait a minute. That's an inside joke. But cats. How do the reptilian shapeshifters feel about cats? Void Mirror. Cats.
Was that a
feline
question?
Friends. How do you feel about cats?
We have pets.
What is the reptilian shapeshifter equivalent on your home planet to a feline friend, to a cat?
Oh, that's it. I've showed it to you already. Our mobile communication devices, which we use for transmitting our emotions to loved ones on our way, are also a companion. It's our very old bit of technology. Our last bit of artificial intelligence. It's like a companion. You can communicate through it. And it's actually a pet that gives you emotional comfort in the same way that your pets give you emotional comfort. So we do have pets, but our pet is a kind of AI pet.
So it's technological, not biological. It's
technological, but it's AI, and luckily we stopped the AI before it got too far. AI is actually a terrible road to go down.
Right. This next one is a bit philosophical. What the fuck does this mean for my everyday life? I guess it's kind of a general question.
Right.
They don't really define what this is, but I guess take it as it is.
Pretty much nothing. It just means there's one more rock band on Earth than there was before.
Listen, I've had a nickel. I got to tell you, hey, look at this, what it is, right? So listen, I got to ask you something, Quinn. So you're sitting there and you're on Earth. You've arrived. You're focusing on shaping up the master plan. You've had millennia to deal with it, to work on it, and you get here and you say, you got to walk me through this. Step 1, CW Chanter. Step 2, Catherine Austin Fitz. Now listen, I got to tell you, it seems like there's it's either the most brilliant plan in the world, or is it level jumping? Like, what is?
That's exactly it. It's win or lose. Put it all on the black. Put it all on the red. It is
right.
It is win or lose. But as I say, we're a new band. We've got a lot of competition, both Earth-based
Really,
and
bro.
our own galaxy. If we don't make a statement, win or lose, what chance do we have?
Now let me ask you the honest truth. You saw me and you said to yourself, this guy, if we mention him in a video, he's putting us on. He's gonna bite. This one's a whale. He's gonna snap at that lure like
Was I
nobody's
wrong?
business.
Was I wrong?
No, listen, dude. I gotta tell him, like, jackpot. Woohoo!
Yes, exactly. And it's I've been, as I said, I've been in bands before, and in a rock group, it's almost a microcosm of heading towards the technology barrier. If you head towards the idea of releasing your record too fast, you can blow it. Let me give you an example from the old days before the media, when we had our last sniff. If you leap from grotty backstreet pubs to major record deal too fast, it says something to your potential fans that puts them off you. You have to move slower. You want your first indie hit. You want to establish yourself. You want to do the stuff you really want to do before you have to work for the man. There's a kind of structure for these that you have to go through. And having been bitten once too often by being too ambitious, moving too fast, and destroying the statement we're trying to make in the process, much better to start off where you're really real, right out in the alternative media, right out away from the mainstream, not even the mainstream alternative media, right out in the sticks, where we can just do what we're doing, no compromises, get the word out. If it's worth listening to, people will listen to it just as much from this show as from Top of the Tops, which of course doesn't exist anymore. So that would be quite tricky. Certainly, I would choose you any day over Simon Cowell, who we had a run-in with the 80s.
I that going for me. You did, okay.
Simon Cowell, when the mask comes off, will recognize us.
Get out of town. What are you really now?
He will recognize us when the mask comes off. He will come off. It's going to be quite a roller coaster.
I want to see the mask come off him. We're talking about reptilians and shapeshifters.
Oh no,
there are a lot of people that have their money on him as being one of them.
Yeah, so that's exactly why we chose your show. You're obviously an open-minded. You're not a reptophobe. I've never heard a reptophobic statement for you, which is obviously important to us, because we're not going to get anywhere if we have to start on a bad footing. And if what we got to say and what we got to play has any meaning, it's going to go from this show just as well or better than it could go from anywhere else.
Now, let me ask you a question. Is there any anxiety? You're playing, you're walking both ends of the street. Is there any anxiety that you guys have that coming out as the Masters of the Illuminati, that maybe the promotional campaign will work too well and people will be out there?
Oh, hence the mask.
The Masters of the Illuminati. They've shown themselves.
Hence the mask. But in rock and roll lives near the edge. The trick is to live as near to the edge as you can without falling off.
So people in the audience now, they've been entranced by the Simon Cowell comment, and they're all I think there's a desire to hazard some guesses as to the true identity of the Masters of the Illuminati. So we're gonna throw it back to the audience. Does anyone want to hazard any guesses? Remember, there's not just one of them. He's the spokesman. He's the, hey, listen, in the Masters of the Illuminati, who's the cute one? Who's the rebel? Who's the leader? Who's the hood?
Well, I thought I was a cute one. When I shapeshifted, I thought I want to be a rock god this time round. I just don't want to do the flash technical stuff. So I thought all the rock god things. Paid careful attention before I shifted, and then I forgot that I should have gone for human rock god rather than lizard rock god. So it didn't quite work out as what I'd expected. So sadly, I am not the rock god, in spite of my best intentions. I'm going to get that right next time, right? I can assure you.
It's always the fine print, right?
Uh,
You know,
uh,
Henry novels or deals with the devil. It's always the fine print. That's how
it's
they
always
get you.
Faustus. It's always Faustus, the
Yeah,
oldest
there you
story
go.
in showbiz. The rock god, although of course he shapeshifted a while ago, so the old genes are starting to wear out, is the first master. He is the rock god. He's got the attitude, the inborn stroppiness that it takes to be a proper a front man, the ability to own the stage by standing still, that kind of thing. But as I say, next time I'm going to get it right. Unfortunately, not this shapeshift.
That's it. That's what I'm going to put on my tombstone. Next time I'm going to get this thing right. That's why I
Exactly.
converted to Hinduism.
But the great thing about being a shapeshifter is, of course, you get to try it. So,
Hey, why not, right?
so
I mean, now if you're going to be a shapeshifter subject to reincarnation, then you've got it. You've got your bases covered, right?
Actually, yes. But there's a funny thing. There are species that do have eternal life. You have to be careful when you're planning your future, what you wish for.
Mm.
Eternal life with no off switch. I would personally
Yeah.
advise thinking very strongly before you wish for that option. Obviously, 100 years is a little bit too short. I would say that our species is bang on right. We get 100, 200,000 years.
The sweet spot.
Yeah, enough to see everything, do everything you want to do without getting bored.
There you go. Okay. I don't even know who this guy is. Are you Nick DeVere? Nick DeVere. I guess not. Or yes. Did he freeze? Is it Rumpelstiltskin? If I name him correctly, did I make him freeze? Let's give a minute for Darth to come back to us.
Oh, by first,
W. I love my audience. Here's a typical audience member of mine. They hazard a guess. They want me to pose a question. I pose it, and then they say, "Be careful before you pose that question." Brandon Young. Mm-hmm. He's the sassy one of my audience. So there you go. So listen. So let me ask you a question. We're on the subject of technology, rock and roll, music, what it means. One thing that's broken my heart that's happened is this move from physical media to virtual media. We know that the major record labels announced, maybe just even going on a couple of years ago, that they were going to cease production of physical media, and they are going to now just go all virtual. And I miss the days of the record store. They were important places, right? And everyone gets all their data online. The books are all ebooks. There's no more printed word, as you said, the page, the pen, and the paper. Where are we going with this? And is it too late to go back?
it's too late to go back. You've always got to go forward. But the good news is that everybody else in the galaxy uses vinyl.
Okay, I don't blame them. That's the way to go, right?
What's the point of being an advanced alien species if you have to listen to your tracks on MP3?
No, there's no point at all. And the great thing about vinyl is that you find yourself, if you find yourself with ones and zeros in an unkind environment, there ain't nothing you can do. But technically, you fix up a turntable, figure out how to spin it the right consistent way, get the small guy to do it, right? Feather and paper cone, you're going to be able to get some sound out of that vinyl, right?
And it works in space, fine. Doesn't work so well when the ship is at sea, obviously, because it rocks a bit.
There you go. Right.
I
hear a legendary story that John Lennon put a record player in a Mercedes Benz, and I thought to myself that had to be the crappiest listening experience. I mean, come on. I mean, every bump is going to be like the record's going to be skipping like nobody's business.
Yeah, maybe that's when they invented scratching.
Yeah, baby, you know what I mean?
Maybe that day was the day. But the good news is that if you're an advanced species and you've got super advanced technology, everybody's looking for optimum technology, looking for that moment in history when the design was the best one, not the newest. Right. And obviously, final. Fender Strat. Gibson Custom. Eventually, no matter what happens throughout the galaxy, no matter what bright spot invents something new, eventually people look for the best one, and the best one is final. How can you beat the warmth of Vinyl or Bang & Olufsen or the other great brands? So yeah, the good news is if you get through the technology barrier, there's no digital audio unless there's no choice. So yeah, that's something to look forward to on the other side.
There you go. There you go. Okay, my friend, let's see what else we got going on here. So we talked about David Icke. Have you heard about the Blue Avians? Yeah, any thoughts, or what is the shape-shifting reptilians' attitude about the new boys on the block, the Blue Avians?
Blue Avian, new one on me, run it past me.
Well, they're essentially, I mean, you know, they're blue, and I guess they are bird people, hence the name Blue Avians. There's a man by the name of Corey Good who has made some bones on the internet. He's made his claim to fame is communicating with these Blue Avians, who are apparently members of the Sphere Being Alliance. These are the latest things.
Is that a group?
They you know what? I got, you know, isn't that, yes, right? That's the deal, right?
If the Serbian Alliance is a rock group, or maybe even a pop group with a hard edge, yes, they are aliens. If they don't rock, then they're probably not aliens.
Right.
All aliens rock. Because imagine Star Trek. You've got nothing to do except plot around the galaxy having fun. But don't you sometimes think Star Trek would be a bit boring without a hobby and stuff to do and whatnot? And that's basically it. We all go around rocking. That way we can mix with the locals, not just stay in like your spaceship. What's the point of being there if you're not in your spaceship? And the best way, everybody rocks. So all aliens rock. And as we go out, we just go integrate in the community, enjoy the life, rock around. So if the Blue Avians are part of a fab band called the
Sphere Being Alliance.
Sphere Being Alliance, I would very much like to hear the album, and then I will give you my opinion of them.
Well, listen, I gotta tell you something. If Catherine Austin Fitz doesn't bite like as fast as CW Chanter, you gotta hit up Corey Good.
Right, I should check them out.
And David Wilcock and his best friend in the world. Have you heard of the work of David Wilcock, who's done some music himself?
Okay, that sounds more alien-like to me.
It sounds that way to a lot of people.
Yes, I should definitely check him out. That there's a lot of us around, and not all of them are obvious. And some of them play with Earth musicians.
That's the truth, baby.
Some of them play all with aliens like ourselves. So having several proper alien musicians coming out at the same time, standing up against repophobia would only be a good thing, surely.
Right. So let's have some fun. I'm gonna test your alien skill set. I'm gonna just throw some random stuff at you, some random ideas, and we'll see how that goes. And the first thing I want to do is, as a reptilian shapeshifter, do you have any native psychic or predictive abilities? The second sight, the ESP.
No. Thing about shapeshifting reptiles, and in fact any advanced species, is not that we're so much technologically advanced from you. It's our emotions are more sophisticated after a million or so years, and without a high degree of empathy, it's not possible to operate our technology. So it's not a spiritual thing as such in the way you determine it, but we simply cannot operate our technology without sufficient empathy. So in that sense, we do have a heightened ability in terms of empathy. It helps us to understand people, understand people's feelings, so we don't piss them off too much, stuff like that. It helps resolve conflict if you can understand somebody's emotions. Makes you vulnerable in a way. to simple things, but it does allow you to interface with a higher level of technology than somebody without empathy. And that's one of the tricks of getting through the technology barrier, is if you have that empathy, you're far more likely to deal with the rapid changes you have to go through. So I'd say that's our special ability, is empathy, plus of course the ability to not to destroy the habitat that keeps us alive. That's another good one.
On that note, given that you've got this the skill of empathy, what we're going to do is we're going to have some fun with the audience, make it a little bit audience participation time, and I'm going to tell you the names of the people in chat, and you just give us the first empathetic blast that hits you. You know, the first insight, prediction, tarot. You know what I mean? Like this. You know.
All right. Let me limber up. Let me just.
Yeah, there you go. Absolutely. Maybe.
Okay, maximum empathy.
I'll give you somebody the name of somebody in chat, and you can either express it as a riff, or you can express it like as a free association thing, and we'll see where we go. Effluent for you. Effluent for you. I like it. Lee Veltman. Lee Veltman. Beautiful. Fractal Truth. This guy's an enigma. I'll give you a heads up on this one. This guy's Fractal Truth. Now this one's gonna be a hard one. This guy's an enigma wrapped in a riddle wrapped in a vest. This guy's out of sight. Brandon Young.
Again?
Brandon Young. Beautiful. Yeah, you know it. A couple more, then we'll let you go. Void Mirror. Void Mirror.
Okay.
That's, we're moving up.
Oh, that's a tricky one.
That really is, I got to tell you. This is going to be nuts. This is testing my abilities. GMC, or it's GM Conobulius.
Okay. All the stops then.
You're really getting tough here.
GM. GM.
That's it. We got our last two. We're going to go with Jonah C. And then we got one more for you, and then your test is done. And I dare say I can already tell you passed with flying colors. Jonah C.
Bring it on.
That's her, Jonah C. That's
Jonah C. Okay. Let's have
uh-oh. This might be a lady. This might be the one girl in the room. So you're going to want to pull out the stops.
Okay.
It's not Jonah with an H. It's Jonah with an A at the end.
Okay.
So
let me just check my tuning. This one's for you, Jonah.
Here we go. Nice. And last one, and this is a good one because it's kind of an all-encompassing title. It will take care of not only everybody in the room, but everyone in the world. The Outliers Club. The Outliers Club.
Right. That must
And that's the last one you're going to have to do.
Fifth Galaxy on the right. I know it well.
Sport.
The Outliers Club. And
the Outliers Club.
This is a house band from the
Freaks,
Outliers Club. Here we go. Here we go. Sorry.
Very nice, my friend. Very nice.
Thank you know what?
So there you go. Absolutely. So we're gonna wrap up the show right about now. Unless you've got anything else you'd like to add, any last minute shout outs or plugs. But hey, baby, we did our pluggiest plugs. We plugged it good. I dare say, right?
God bless marketing.
I'm all about it. Listen, I'm from the Malcolm McLaren school of whatever works. Work it. You know what I mean? Is it rock promotion or is it data art experiment? It's both and then some, and that's what makes it so darn good and tasty. Right?
On that note, let's stand. The tequila's kicking in when it reaches my feet.
Okay.
You have been a fabulous host, CW.
You've been a fabulous guest. I gotta tell you, son. You know what I mean? This was a gas. And listen, I gotta tell you, son. We got to do it again, right?
We have, but as I said, in our world, rocking out is very good. Do you know whether there will be a time lag if we were both jamming next time?
I'll take you up on that offer.
You've got a deal. We shall be in touch. I shall
put my ankle bells, my finger symbols.
Oh, yeah.
Shirts, my scarves.
I shall dress up for the occasion appropriately. These are my street clothes.
Well, the hardest decision of the night will be samba or tango.
Wow. Okay. Right. Actually, yeah, I shall see if I can get that sorted. That would be a magical evening of good conversation, dancing, and music.
And listen, absolutely. One of these days, we got to get you on one of our mass Google Hangouts. We got to get you your energy vibing with some other cats in the room. We're gonna have some fun.
Okay, well,
I'll keep you in mind. Keep your Skype open. You never know when the Hangouts link could come your way, right?
Okay, always ready to promote CW. That's the name of the game.
There you go. So I'll just say a little bit of a goodbye to the audience as we hang out. I'll hit stop broadcast. We'll chat for a minute or two, pat ourselves on the back, tell us what a good job we did and how much fun we had. And if you guys noticed, that's right, I unbuttoned another button. It's rock and roll. It's only rock and roll, but I like it. So maybe our man's going to play us out. We're going to say good night to everyone. Good night. It's still light out. Say goodbye, everyone in the audience at home. Man, it's been good. It's been a shaker. Check out the Masters of the Illuminati. They got 2 channels on YouTube. Undoubtedly, they got a Facebook presence. We'll put some of the links below when I get around to it. And that's how it goes. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for hanging out with us. And check out the Masters of the Illuminati. I got to tell you, I got a fever for the flavor of some old school punk rock, crusty tunes. And these guys jam. They do. They rock out. They rock out. They rock out. If you're a fan of old school 1970s styles, old school 1970s style punk with a better, harder, smoother modern production, you got to check these guys out. They're ones to catch. Masters of the Illuminati. And remember, don't be reptophobic. Hug a reptile today. Just be careful what end you grab. And on that note, we'll say good night and good luck, everybody. We love you. Take care, folks.